Today we will be doing a focus walk. Is everybody clear on what we will be looking for?
Last meeting we all decided to look at student engagement. So I assume that instead of student engagement we will be looking at something completely different.
We are looking at teacher modeling. Therefore we will be observing classes while the students work independently during the warm-up.
The meeting minutes said we would look at student engagement.
A good teacher should be able to do both. The students should be engaged while the teacher models. That's why it's called an I do, because every person is doing something. During the warm-up, every student is supposed to be doing something, so that's when we will check for student engagement.
You mean teacher modeling?
That's what I said. We are looking for teacher modeling and student engagement and objectives. The teachers at this school are terrible at modeling, so that's why we have to observe them. Also, we should look for formal assessment. The classes should be taking a test while we do our observation.
You cannot do teacher modeling during a test.
The teacher should put a test on the visualizer and take the entire test while the class watches. Then the class should take the test. That is teacher modeling, and it's what good teachers do. You have to model every activity for our students because they are not smart.
So let me get this straight, the warm-up is a test. But the test is being modeled by the teacher. So the warm-up is really just copying the test off the teacher.
The students need to interact and be engaged during the test. They need to express themselves. Stop restricting the students and acting like they are not smart. I keep telling you our students are smart, but your class is too restrictive. You are stifling the students' ability to express themselves.
How am I supposed to let the students express themselves individually when I am showing them how to take the test, much less doing it for them? Andy, how does this fit into an 8-minute warm-up?
Your assessment does not need to be long. Think about it. It should be quick. The warm-up is just a pre-assessment. Before we can teach anything, we have to assess them to find out what their strengths and weaknesses are. That's just good teaching. You can't teach until you've assessed.
We already assess the students dozens of times. You assign them a small test and a BCR daily. The students have started filling in all the bubbles on the test as a sign of protest. For their BCRs, they just draw pictures of genitals. Then, to prove that they actually know English, they write essays about the importance of drawing genitals on tests. One student drew a heart map from the perspective of his genitals. Not surprisingly, the 3 items outside his heart were tests, BCRs, and your name. The one thing we have thoroughly assessed and know beyond a shadow of a doubt is that the students do not care about assessments. And that they hate you and have unrealistic expectations of the sizes of people's genitals.
Everybody should have a feedback form. For each teacher, write down the objective, find one thing you liked, and one thing they should change. Make sure to write the second part like a question, so it feels nicer. So if I didn't like the way a teacher modeled something, I shouldn't just write you didn't model it right. Instead, I should write, is there a way to differentiate that lesson by not doing such a shitty job of modeling? Also, the thing you liked should be phrased as a recommendation. So instead of saying I like your word wall, you should write, if the rest of the room were as good as your word wall you wouldn't be such a bad teacher.
Are we going to hand them the feedback at the end of our visit, or will we give it to them later?
You should not talk to them about your feedback. It is not supposed to be shared with the teacher. Otherwise we will not have confidentiality.
How are the teachers supposed to find out what they did well and what to work on if we don't share our feedback?
We will all combine our notes and present them anonymously, so they don't know which evaluator gave which comments.
Each teacher is only being visited once. They know who visited them. It's not a stretch to connect the person who observed you with the anonymous feedback, especially if it's still in their handwriting. And the focus walk is not an evaluation, so this should not be a problem in the first place.
On the back of your form you will see a rubric. You can give teachers a score from 0 to 3.
This is not an evaluation. We are not supposed to score the teachers.
It is optional. If you want to give each teacher a score you will have the rubric. You can just use the rubric as a reference while you're observing, in case you want to give a score.
This is not an evaluation. We are not supposed to score the teachers.
But if you do not assess the teachers, how will they know what they do well and what to improve on?
I will give them feedback from my visit. Just like you said not to. And I will not give your test during the warm-up or at the end of class. And I suspect, when you find a way to give tests in place of a lesson, that I won't give those either. The one thing I will keep of yours is the objective, since nobody reads those anyway.
I'm glad this briefing clarified everything going into the focus walk. I will see you at the debriefing. Don't forget to complete your evaluation of this briefing. It is a BCR.